What's up, everybody? This is General Spear here. Welcome back to another episode here of Art Shenanigans. This is going to be a separate playlist altogether. This is the first video of my ARC Trooper Havoc, or ARC Trooper Commander Havoc, armor build, which I'm really excited for. I've been talking about this in some of the more recent videos that I've been doing and uploading to the channel for a while, but today is the first episode of the official build, which I'm really excited for. Now, the first two episodes that we're going to be going through this series are kind of things to go through for if you're making a any kind of costume or cosplay for the 501st Legion, because I plan and fully intend on doing this armor for the 501st Legion. And also the second video is to go over, so we're doing the, let me backtrack here a little bit. This first video is pretty much looking at the CRLs for ARC Trooper Havoc, looking at the costume reference library, or the CRL stuff for that, going over the differences between the animated and realistic versions of the clones, because that's also going to matter in this build. So yeah, and then the next video is what to do for cosplays in general, i.e. making a list of materials and resources, making a budget, figuring out pricing and everything. That's not only going to apply for this build, but also for cosplay in general. So these first two videos are going to be crucial as kind of being building blocks of what we need to get and acquire, and we're going to go from there. So before I get into what goes into Havoc here, I want to take a moment to discuss the differences between the animated and realistic styles of clones, because not everybody knows that there is a difference. So I have already some websites brought up here. We're going to take a look at the first thing, and we actually need to go up to the page here. We're going to take a look at the Phase 1 Clone Trooper from Attack of the Clones. This is from the movie. These guys are pretty standard grunts. This is a photo done by, apparently, Yuki Lim, model TC4365. And this is an ideal setup of what we have here. We got the helmet up here, we got the shoulder pads, we got the biceps, we have the elbow pads, and the forearms not attached. I will say that. The same down here with the shins and the knee plates here. Those aren't attached. They are all those separate pieces. The thighs here are nice and evenly shaped with a line crease there and there with a triangle there. Boots down here. Pretty simple stuff. Got the blaster in hand. And we're just going to go down the list here. We've got the helmet here. All its different requirements. Helmet has the appearance of a neck ring, which is this down here. That's for the Phase 2 certification. For the Phase 3, it has an enclosed neck ring and seals the helmet to be the neck, or to the neck basically. Rear fin is eliminated, so this fin right up here, there's a little light apparently that goes on there. Going down the list here, more components. So this is pretty much the Phase 1. And then the Phase... not the Phase 1. This is pretty much the realistic version. The realistic version of the weapons, for example, we're going to look at the DC-15A because we're actually going to be using that in Havoc's build. The DC-15A, your standard blaster targeting rifle for the clones. You see this all over the place, not only in Attack of the Clones, but also in the Clone Wars TV series. However, this is the realistic version, so it's technically only going to show up in the movies. So, Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. It's got some detailing around here, some screws and knobs around the handle. Usually, I mean, it doesn't show in this particular model. On the barrel here, it'll have the ribbing that's classic of like the E11, the EE3, the which if you don't know what those are like the standard The E11 is the standard Stormtrooper blaster, which has the same ribbing on the barrel, basically. And then the EE3 is Boba Fett's blaster. So typically they'll have the same ribbing. I think there's a little bit of those lines there in the shadowing, but there's that. And then the animated version of all this. So we have the grunt here for the movie. The animated version. Oops. If we go to here, slightly different. Same clone grunt concept, but slightly different. First off, if we go take a look at the helmets, the clone helmet is taller for the Phase 1 movie reference. This one's slightly shorter, but then that could be due to the photo. But there's also a little bit more roundedness. There's a little bit more of a flare out by the neck and the jaw area. If we take a look at the shoulder pads, these are more rounded. This has more of a squared off shape here. The biceps are going to be kind of similar. There is a cutout in the back here, which is not the case in the back of this bicep. There's this rounded bit back here. It's just fully cut out back here. And then the elbows and the forearms are all one piece for the animated version of the grunt. The thighs are going to be pretty much the same. The chest plates, the backs, the abdomen and section, the codpiece, and the posterior plates are pretty much going to be the same in overall shape. There's going to be a few minor differences. For example, for the Phase 1, there's these lines here, as there are for the realistic version here. However, there are these little dots here on the realistic, which are not in the animated. The legs down here, the shins and the knees, these are all also going to be all one piece. They're not going to be treated as their own separate pieces as they are in the realistic. The boots are also slightly different as well. More so in details than overall shape. But that's that. And then the blaster, the corresponding DC-15A. If we look at the two here, we notice that there's a lot more detail. Here, it's a much more simplified version of the DC-15A for the animated. There's not the same screws that we see so visually on the realistic here. There's also not as much knobbing or knobs and gadgets on the midsection here, and we also don't see the ribbing on this. Now, in some photos, there is the ribbing for the Clone Wars animated DC-15A, just like its predecessor. I'm going to go ahead and actually put ribbing on mine just for the safety, just to make sure that we have that. I'm also going to be continually asking members that are part of the 501st and also part of the Clone Trooper detachment to see if there needs to be ribbing on the animated version of the DC-15A. But as you can see, it's the whole rifle is a much more simplistic version than that of its realistic twin, basically. The realistic has a lot more components. It has maybe a few more edges and layers of detail. The animated is much more simplistic. So those are pretty much the differences to note, basically, because there are differences. I'm going to go ahead and close these guys down because I don't need them anymore. So now we get to Havoc. Havoc himself only shows up in the Clone Wars TV series. He is not in the movies whatsoever. There's not technically a realistic version of him. The 501st may change that at some point. I don't know. If there is a realistic version, it would go pretty much off of, it's like the Shadow, no, not the Shadow, like the Slideshow action figures are like really, really nicely detailed. There's ones of Rex, there's ones of Bly, there's ones of Wolf, etc., etc. There was also one of Havoc, which I don't know if it's discontinued. I'm not able to find many anywhere. I mean, I've been able to see like 1 or 2 hits on eBay, for example, and that's about it. So there were slideshow figures for Havoc at one point. I don't know if there still are. There might be. But they've been very limited in comparison to, say, like a slideshow figure of Rex or something like that. So that's to keep in mind. So currently we only have the animated version, so we're going to be dealing with only the animated parts. As you can see, context shows up Clone Wars Season 3. Havoc. Prefix AR, description Arc Trooper. Havoc, yep. Detachment, Clone Trooper Detachment. Havoc serves in the Grand Army of the Republic as part of the Rancor Battalion. Although no stranger to battle, Havoc primarily works alongside ARC Troopers Colt and Blitz to evacuate clone cadets. Final stage of training. Or not evaluate. I'm sorry. Looking for the potential of becoming ARC Troopers. Alright. So, please note, and this is crucial too, for especially if you're becoming clone troopers, because this can carry over. Please note that this costume is also eligible for membership in the Rebel Legion, which is really awesome. Alright. For those that have not signed up for the 501st before, I am going to go over all the stuff here because I am going through the same process. I've never signed up through it, so I'm going to be learning as you are. Alright. 501st approval requirements are listed in black. The page following items are listed in blue are recommended features that will improve the quality of the costume. Items listed in red are the intended to further enhance the finished costume. There are no red intended components. There's just a few blue components for this particular costume. For 501st membership, only the requirements in black need to be met. So there are a few blue recommendations. We don't necessarily need those to complete the costume in 501st fashion. I'm going to add them anyways because I do want to go the above and beyond kind of approach for this. Important. This section here. The animated armor design seen in the Clone Wars CG series differs from the realistic armor design used to create the characters from the theatrical film and graphic novels. We just went over that. See this thread at the 501st clonetroopers.com for the differences between the sculpts. This may require an account on their forums, which I already have. Alright, so a visual guide has been reviewed by the detachment staff of the LMO team. I don't remember what that stands for, but it's one of the approval teams, I believe. And is certified for the use of minimum approval guidelines for the GMLs. GML are free to approve this costume every time. So these are also another approval group. Any uncertainties or questionable aspects of the submitted costume will be brought to the appropriate DL or GML peer review section of the Legion forum. So basically, if there's anything that's questionable about the costume that you've created, like if you need to tweak a few things or whatever, these guys will view that and let you know either way. Okay. So here are the required costume components. Obviously, the helmet. That's pretty typical of most Star Wars characters that are submitted for the 501st Legion. There's actually very few, like the Imperial or Republic officers, for example, that don't require helmets. They just require, like, hats or whatever. But for most characters, it's helmets. So, for the 501st approval, ARC Trooper Havoc's helmet must be a Phase 1 animated style ARC Trooper helmet. There are vendors out there that do make these. Helmet is painted in a matte or satin white as the base color. Has a blue center stripe on the dome, which is right here. Doesn't cover up the fin. Black islands, which is right there. Gray faceplate, this bit right here. Side ear sections are painted in blue, right over here and here. Let me bring this up a little bit. Can I bring this up and still read CRLs? No, I can't. Unfortunately, no. I can, however, make this bigger. In case you can't see. There we go. Alright. So, painting in blue. Got it. Rangefinder, which is this bit right here. Blue rangefinder with a silver stock on the right side of the helmet. Generally, these will become in metal for most vendors. So, it's already silver in that aspect. There's not really a painted aspect that needs to be done. Blue stripes on the side of the cheeks, which are right here and right here and right here and right here. Rear intended helmet band and the center of the rear helmet is painted gray. This bit right here. Rear center disc is painted matte or satin white. Yeah, pick it up. Armor is weathered with shades of gray. Excuse me as I burp a little bit into the mic. Armor is weathered in shades of gray. I'm already going to be weathering my entire system. We don't need to worry about this because this is pretty consistent throughout all the armor pieces. The same with being painted matte or satin white as the base color. That's a pretty standard thing, so we're not going to worry about that. Alright, neck seal. Phase 1 animated style neck seal. This has no ribbing whatsoever, unlike its realistic cousin. Let's see. Is black, no ribbing, yup. Logos, no logos or labels are visible. If the seal is not incorporated as a part of the undersuit, a baklava or other similar covering is acceptable. Alright, so that's pretty cool. That's the black there. For the level 2 certification, which is the extra blue, neck seal closes in the front via 2 small black snaps. These bits right here. I already found a vendor that is going to be that I'm going to be basically commissioning to get a neck seal from. That's going to have all these components, including the blue, which I'm really, really excited for. So we have that already underway. Undersuit. Phase 1 anime style undersuit. Black non-texture material, either one-piece or two-piece construction with no visible zippers or logos. I'm going for a two-piece construction because I do want the chance to go to the bathroom. That's one of the primary reasons why I want a two-piece undersuit, because I can get in and out of it much, much easier if I do that. Alright. And, also, be sure, there's a group that I'm a part of on Facebook called the Worldwide Clone Troopers. I'll link them in the description below if you are interested in joining and coming up with your own Clone Trooper outfit. It's a place where you can also ask a lot of questions, too. Usually, something like running gear, if you do a two-piece, like if it's like, black and black running gear, black top, black bottoms, those are generally acceptable. You gotta be careful, though, not to show any labels or anything like that. And it also just really depends on what it is. So that's something to watch out for. The Polderon. Phase 1 anime style Polderon, double-sided Polderon. So there's like the single-sided, which is like Rex's, and then there's the double, like here. Black base with blue panels, as we can see there, attaches to the top front of the chest, above the outer chest armor. There's a reason why there's an outer there. We'll get to that in just a moment. Shoulder armor. Phase 1 anime style shoulder armor, painted in white. Shoulders are padded so it's not to rest flat against the arms. So we could probably put a little bit of foam or whatever underneath that. I'm actually probably going to be putting foam underneath all the pieces and painting them, possibly. Depends on how they fit on my body. The top of the bell sits about 3/4 to an inch above the natural shoulder. That's to be important there. Upper arm. Phase 1 anime style upper arm. Armor has a notch in the lower area of the back of the arm that matches up with the elbow armor. And armor is seamless. No visible traces of how the armor was assembled are shown. Those are the upper arms. The forearm armor, which also includes the elbow armor here. Phase 1 animated style forearm armor. Mounted on the top of the left forearm is a small gray rocket, this thing right here. Left forearm includes a strip of blue at the top of the armor piece and 3 small blue lines around the cuff, which is this blue strip and these 3 lines here. Left forearm also includes a compound with 4 square buttons on the right side, which is this right here. Front line of 2 buttons are white, followed by a red and a green button. So these are the white, there's a red, and then there's the green. The right forearm is painted gray with a blue stripe that hides the seam, which is right here. There is a seam right here. Yeah. A single large blue stripe is painted at the top of the cuff. I don't know if I'm able to... Oh, right here. That blue stripe. I was like, I don't know if I'm able to see it, but then I realized, wait, the cuff. It's down here. There it is. So, and there's that. Elbow plates are integrated into the forearm, extending up into the notch of the bicep. So this notch right up here, that's where that trapezoid-like shape fits. And then the elbow itself is integrated into the arm, which we just said. Elbow sections are painted matte or satin white, so there's no coloring with that whatsoever, other than the white. Hand plates. Animated style hand plates. They're both painted white. They are mirror images of each other. The hand plates have an angled peak that comes over the index or middle finger just past the main knuckle of the hand. There's a blue stripe on the right hand plate only. So technically this is the right hand plate. This is the left. I don't know why they switched it this way. It's visually weird, but this is the right, this is the left. That's what that is. Gloves. Phase 1 animated style gloves, black over the wrist. Gloves are made of leather, nylon, or a low pile fabrics. Gloves cover any exposed skin. Gloves do not show any logos or labels when the armor is worn. There actually is a really good resource for gloves, and I'll probably go over this in the next video as well. There is a type of glove called Nomex gloves. They are a type of flight suit gloves that are worn by aviators and pilots and everything. They're very, very good. There's several black gloves like this that they have. And I'll put a link in the description on the next video for that, for the resources that I have gone over. And they're very, very fantastic. Very, very fantastic. Before we move on, I'm going to get a swig of water here. There we go. Lots of talking in this video today. Lots of talking. Excuse me. Alright. So moving on. We have the chest armor. Now here's where we have that whole reference to the outer armor here, because there's also the typical standard inner armor. Well, which is normally just the typical standard chest plate, which is the animated style chest plate, inner. Matte satin white. Yep. The lower section of the chest has a rounded cutout section to match the abdomen armor. So this bit right here, this is where the abdomen armor is going to fit. So that's the inner plate. This is the outer chest plate. This is only for ARC troopers to have. So this goes on top of the chest plate in some configuration. It is a Phase 1 anime style outer chest plate. It's painted gray, matte gray that is. 4 light blue squares with 4 smaller dark blue squares are painted at the top of them. So these guys right here. And then it's also weathered as well. But this is what that looks like. Ammo pouch. Phase 1 anime style ammo pouch on the right side of the chest over the right breast. There are 3 compartment black ammo pouches. This right here. We've seen this on Rex, we've seen this on Fives, we've seen this on all the ARC troopers. This is a pretty standard thing, and this fits right underneath the Polderon here in some fashion. I need to look up how that is, but that fits right underneath that. That's why that particular strap is there. Back armor. Phase 1 anime style back armor. The armor is painted matte black, yada yada. The rear of the back has a detailed area that contains an O11 pattern. O11. Just like so. Shoulder straps are placed over the chest and back armor at the seams. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of that right there. And we will get into how that is configured for when we actually build those pieces. The backpack. This is something that is only seen with the ARC Troopers. So here it goes. Phase 1 anime style backpack. Backpack is painted dark blue overall. The side disc details are painted in olive green, which are right over here on the side here. Round detail and large rectangular on the rear backpack is painted in a nutmeg brown color, which is this and this. Components attached to the two pipes are satin white, which are these and these. And rectangles on each side of the pack are painted slate blue. So, we'll get into how this is all painted when we actually have the backpack. Abdomen armor. This section right here fits right into the chest section. Abdomen style armor, animated style abdomen armor. That's how it's said. Top edge of the armor curved to match the chest. As I said before, the ab armor protrudes out in the middle to match the shape of the chest armor. 4 inset lines divide the ab plate into the segments, and a butted seam. This is important. A butted seam between the ab plate and the kidney is acceptable. So that means is that the abdomen section here and the kidney section right below it, this is the back of the torso section, as I'd like to say. This is the front. These two do not need to be seamless when up against each other. They can actually be a little bit of a line on the side there. We'll get into that when it's building, but that's important because then I'm actually able to get in and out of it too, so which is really, really awesome. Alright, the kidney, basically the same thing, but it's seam against between the ab plate and the kidney section is acceptable, which is really awesome. I'm so glad that's happening. Alright, the cod piece, front and belt front. Phase 1 animated style cod piece and belt front. Integrated belt section is approximately 3 inches tall and divided into segments, this is the 3 inches tall bit, and they're divided into segments, as you can see. 2 larger belt boxes, or larger boxes attached, one on each side, these here and here. The side boxes are not to be confused with the additional small front belt boxes, which are probably going to be here in some sections and in here or whatever. The cod piece and posterior armor connect at the hips. Butted seams are permitted at this connection if required. Given how I want to be able to get in and out of it easily if I need to go to the bathroom, I will plead for those butted seams. Posterior armor, rear belt. Basically the same idea. There's a few more components though. Armor is painted in. They're both animated style. Integrated belt section is approximately 3 inches. Yep. Butted seams detonator is centered on the back of the belt. This cylindrical shape here is the detonator. There's no control buttons. The reason why it says that is because the realistic style of detonator does have a control button. The animated does not. Detonator has 2 lines that are set approximately 1.5 to 5/8 inches from the edges. These lines right here and here. Lines may be recessed or painted on. So yeah, I'm probably going to recess mine just to make things work. For level 2 certification, lines are recessed. So yeah, I'm going to recess mine. Belt boxes. Animated style belt boxes. 2 white front boxes. So these 2, they're going to go probably right here on either side. And 2 rear black boxes. Boxes are covered attachment points of the holster straps. Armor is weathered, yada yada yada. Okay, so those are the belt boxes for that. Now we get into the thigh boxes and holsters. which are both animated style. Firebox is a flat gray upper section and a dark gray lower section here and here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what it looks like. Holsters are painted black. These guys right here, the holsters, they house the DC-17s. Holsters and thigh boxes are attached to an X-crossing double-waisted straps, which are here and here. And these are those colors. Belt straps travel at an upward angle and attach behind the front and rear belt boxes. Awesome stuff. The comma. Animated style comma. The comma is made of heavy material or heavy canvas. I'm going to I'm going to commission a artist that I've already been in contact with that's going to be actually making a comma for me in the Havoc way. So that's all taken care of. And I'll talk about that more in the next video. Comma is gray with blue trim. The center panels that match the color of the armor pieces. Front edges of the comma line up with the outside edges of the two panels in the belt. Comma of the back of the comma is split all the way up to the belt. Okay. Now we're getting to the last few little bits here. I'm going to speed through this. Thigh armor, animated style. We already know this. Front of the thigh armor has a triangular area near the knee that will notch cut out. That will have a notch cut out for the knee armor. I'm going to take a swig of water. Oh, there we go. From the top of the triangle, a ridge line travels up to the front of the thigh on the top edge. This edge right here. Upper outer edge has a triangle section, so yeah. For level 2 certification, the armor is seamless. No visible traces of how this was assembled. I'm going to apply that. And now for the lower leg section, which also has the knees. Animated style. Painted gray, as you can see here, not white. Knee armor is integrated in the system, as I said before. Knee area is painted blue in the same fashion as the rest of the blue on the armor. Rectangle details are painted in gold, which are right here and right here. Boot caps. Animated style boot caps on the foot armor. Or are the foot armor, basically. Armor is painted gray, just like the shins. Blue stripes right here and here. And boot caps attached to boots with a hook and loop fastener. Velcro is an option there. Pretty awesome. And then the boots. Phase 1 animated style boots. White ankle high or tall enough to cover the ankle and eliminate any of the black undersuit. This is basically making sure that there's not a seamless, but a full armor connection over the entire leg from the knee down to the boot. Boots are laceless and have a flat sole. Yada, yada, yada. Boots have a center strip running out from the toe to the ankle. This strip right here. A strap across the top of the foot with two flat white discs on either side of the foot terminating the strap. These guys right here. Excuse me. These guys right here. As I probably did the mic. For level 2 certification, boots have accurate notch soles, which are these right here. So the minimum, of course, is to have the flat soles right here. I'm going to try to see if I can find the notched sole versions of the boots. And then in the additional accessories, what I'm going to be going for this build, but these are the optional accessories, are the DC-17 hand blasters, which are the animated style. Animated style DC-15S. Excuse me, these are the DC-17, not the DC-15 hand blasters. DC-17. And then we have the DC-15A, a battle rifle, all of which are the animated versions here. These are optional accessories. Items are optional costume accessories. These items are not required for approval, but if present, appear in the description below. So the reason why these are optional is because not all countries in which people are building the 501st really like the fact that weapons are being shown on the various costumes. There's some, they look like weapons, so it's understandable. I am going to be building the DC-15A blaster rifle animated style, and the DC-15, not DC-15, the DC-17 hand blasters. And I will be doing a tutorial series on both of these at some point. So I'm going to have dual wielding pistols and the battle rifle. But that is going to do it for this episode, guys. I'm sorry that ran a little long, but that's pretty much the CRLs for ARC Trooper Havoc here, which is really, really awesome. I hope people learned a lot. Next video, like I said before, we're going to be going over the budget, the list of components, the list of materials and supplies that we're going to need to, do this. And yeah, should be fun. That's going to do it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for watching. If you like the video, feel free to Hulk smash that like button. Comment in the comment section below if you so choose. If you're new, thank you so much for watching. Hope you hit that subscribe button. And as always, may the